Hi and welcome. It's Chris Watkin here, and I'm with Boyd Mayover, who is quite a controversial and to the point estate agency trainer. Been in estate agency training now for 16 years, and he wants to tell me and you, UK estate agency, the things that you need to stop doing right now if you are going to succeed through this, what we're going through at the moment. And this is the best bit. There are things that you were doing before the C word, but there's stuff that you should be stopping doing right now. Use this as a kick up your backside, because if you don't do these things, you won't succeed. This is what Boyd says. So Boyd, welcome to the Chris Watkin Show. Talk to me a bit about what qualifies you to basically be telling UK estate agency what they should or shouldn't be doing. Talk to me.
That's a good question. I think the biggest thing is my history of success in making agents get more valuations, more instructions at higher fees, better conversion rates with viewings to offers, but most importantly, having the staff and the people, should I say, behave in a world-class manner all the time with every prospect.
Okay.
Sadly, doesn't happen all the time.
So let's put aside this C word, and to be honest with you, there's a lot of scared people out there at the moment.
Yeah.
But where were estate agents going wrong before this?
Well, all I can do is give you examples. So I don't like to talk about what they might have done or what they wouldn't have done. As you know, my company's always done a lot of mystery shops on behalf of the industry, on behalf of agents, so we understand it. And what that does is give you the real world when you make a call. Up until, let's forget the C word, 4 weeks ago, I did a mystery shop to quite a few letting and estate agents. And I phoned up because I wanted to rent a property. Now, we all know that's the easier bit of the job. I was horrified, Chris. I would be on the phone being registered, as in, what's your name? What's your budget? Are you employed? Yeah, all those unengaging questions that take you nowhere. And on probably 40% of the time, I wasn't asked my name. 60% of the time, the person on the phone didn't give their name. I had occasions where people would say, thanks very much, after taking all the details. There's no one hearing lettings at the moment. Would you like them to email you? No, I wouldn't really. I'd like to speak to somebody. Oh, okay, I'll put you through. Put me through. The young lady answered the phone. Hello? I had to go through the whole thing again. The amount of sales agents, the new trick that I've been noticing far too often is nobody wants to book a viewing. They want to send you details. There's this new expression, we'll do a computer match for you. For God's sake, this is a man or lady could have what, 3, 4, 5, 600,000 pounds in their pocket.
This is estate agents here, yeah?
Yeah. What are they doing? How can you behave like that constantly? How can you not learn? How can you not learn that you've got to give the customer a world-class service? In any climate, not just this one, any climate. And you know what else, Chris? What worries me? Nobody ever considers the lifetime value of the customer. So what I mean by that, the guy who's renting today, I know this is cliched, but he might be the landlord tomorrow, etc. Have I ever told you the story about the £6,000-7,000 pizza delivery loss?
No.
Well, you think about this. Here's a family of 4 that every Saturday night for the last 2 years, they have film night. And what they do, they pick a film, it's their family evening, and they get their pizza takeaway. And they get their dough balls and their salads and their pizza and their big bottle of Coca-Cola and Ben and Jerry's. That comes to about, what, 70, 80 quid? It's got to, hasn't it?
This is where you come from, not where I come from.
Yeah, well, all right. Call it 60 quid. But what I'm saying is, They do that every Saturday, and the reason they use this pizza place is because they deliver. On one Saturday, the mum phoned up to put her order in, and the girl on the phone said, "No, we don't deliver to your postcode." And she said, "No, no, you do, because you have done for years." "No, we don't. We've had a change." Well, she said, "Could you ask the manager, because he knows me, tell him it's Greta. We've always been doing this for years. You know, this is silly." "Yeah, the manager says we can't do it." Now, that cost them 60 quid that night. It actually probably cost them what, £6,000–7,000? What about the next 2 years? What about all their friends? What about when film night isn't for 4 to have some other friends round? But of course, the girl on the phone and the manager were just considering the 60, 70 quid, weren't they?
They were.
Well, it was a £7,000 kick in the wotsits, wasn't it? That's what I want estate agents to think about. It's the lifetime value.
Yeah, but people only move every 15 years. And to be honest with you, who needs tenants? They're two a penny.
Well, hang on. So the people that move don't know anybody, so they couldn't recommend them to anybody. And tenants stay tenants forever, and they never move, and they never want a new apartment, and they haven't got friends. But even if you're right and the tenants are two a penny, so what? They should still be treated like they're Elton John. It's insanity.
But it's almost like estate agents are treating it purely as on a transactional basis of what they can squeeze out of this transaction, and not
Correct.
long term.
Correct.
Okay,
Look,
but if you think about it, though, boy, I don't disagree with you. We've banged on about this for years, and people still won't listen. Do you think what's happening in the, but no one's going to be moving house in the next few months, or hardly anyone.
Well, I hope it does make them listen, because what they're going to need to do is hold people's hand from today. Because whether you're moving today or in 3 months' time, you're going to pick an agent to work with. And unless you hold their hand properly now, why would they pick you? Look, there is another thing to take into account. Are you ever going to be able to borrow money cheaper than you can today?
Never.
No, never. Will never ever happen in anybody's lifetime. So what a great opportunity for a buyer. What do agents do? They make it so clear that without meaning to, that the mortgage is an upsell. And you know, Chris, how many agents do you know get a commission on a mortgage referral, but don't get anything on a viewing and an offer?
Well,
so what do you expect?
But you need obviously you need the viewing to get the property sold, so you can earn
you do.
mortgage.
You need the viewing, and you need the potential buyer handled. But what they're doing, they're not using mortgages as an aid to the buyer. They're making it obvious it's just an aid to them. So they're flogging a mortgage rather than somebody to help these people buy their dream home. Because isn't that what the mortgage does?
And it certainly does it. I mean, I used to work with an agent who didn't actually sell mortgage appointments. What he used to do is say, look, let's get you in and see if you can get a 4-bed as opposed to a 3-bed.
To try it. Well, I've got a client who says this. Look, I don't know if our mortgage chap can help you. He helped a couple last week. He saved them £60 a month. And a couple the month before, they spent £40,000 more than they'd intended. Now, I don't know if he can do that for you, but on that basis, isn't it worth a 10-minute chat? See, that guy gets 9 out of 10 of those.
Isn't it interesting that instead of saying, do you want mortgage advice, this is a big tip for you negs out there, they're telling a story of either saving money.
Exactly.
Or you get a better house than you originally thought.
Correct. What's the point in saying to someone what they all say? Our broker's got access to thousands of lenders. He'll do better than yours. What's the point? You've just insulted the person. You've just told them they've made a bad decision. And why not help them make a good one?
Well, people don't like being told what to do, but if you can, use the story as a Trojan horse, it's a TripAdvisor effect, isn't it? In the fact that, isn't it amazing? Everybody ignores all the adverts for hotels, but we'll base our decision on our holidays, whatever they are, purely based on the say-so of someone who's done a trip, that a comment on TripAdvisor that we've never met.
Who you don't even know, and who might not have the same taste as you. So if that works, this will work easily.
So why do you think estate agents are so transactional in their approach?
I think it's for years it was easy. It was transactional. I think, and this is a bit controversial, I think for too long they haven't paid enough. So therefore they haven't always attracted the right people.
Interestingly, here's an interesting stat for you. Peter Knight, who's part of the Property Academy, has been doing his home moving survey now for the last 14 or 15 years. And they interview thousands and thousands of people, vendors and homeowners who've been through estate agents. And 14 years ago, the average fee was 1.6. So this is 2004. Okay, it started 2005, somewhere around there, and the fee has been slowly drifting downwards. And everyone was blaming Purple Bricks, but Purple Bricks only came in 14, 15, and by the time they got on, fees were hovering around 1.3, 1.4. The point I'm trying to get across is we can all blame Purple Bricks and everyone else for this fee drop, but the fees were already coming down.
Correct.
Way before then. And it's funny, isn't it, that if there's less fees coming in, that means there's less wages that we can pay. Why do you think fees have been on a drop? I mean, I've got my thoughts, but I'd like to ask yours first.
I think there's a couple of things. I think there's been a race to the bottom, which doesn't help anybody.
Okay, that's an outcome. Why? Let's go for the reasons why.
Why has there been a race to the bottom? Because agents have panicked about not getting business and done the very small-minded thing, which is always, I'll drop my fees or I'll discount. It's discounting. That's what they're doing. And discounting suggests you have no faith in your fees in the first place. It's like the agent that says, we start at 1.5, but it is negotiable. Well, what that means is you had no blooming faith in 1.5. And I'm telling you, that's what 6 out of 10 of them say. Because I've phoned them. And I don't care what people say, ooh, we don't do that. Yes, they do.
Because how many times do bosses actually mystery shop their guys?
Well, I was going to get onto that.
Well, let's just hold that just a second. Let's come back to that.
All right.
Let me share with you the reasons why I think estate agency's been pulling down its pants, okay? Okay. And this is totally aside from the fact that in 2004 there was 9,500 estate agents, and today there's 21,000. So there's a huge, there's a greater supply of agents. I'm going to blame two things. First one, CRM systems.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Can you remember the old days, Boyd, when we used to have hot boxes? Tell the people at home that
the Rolodex.
Tell the people below the age of 40 what a hot box was, because this will blow your mind.
Well, you had a box of leads, and they were your really good leads, and they had notes on them. That's it. And they had notes on them.
You
Things
had a plastic box, and then you had bits of paper in it, like that, printed cards, and then the value would come and put a house on the market, and in the morning meeting, you'd go through your cards.
That's right. And you'd fill in the details, but you'd know everything. You'd know that the buyer had a granny named Alice that was going to live with her, and that they had to have a house with a very big downstairs because they wanted to turn it into a granny. You'd know everything.
Can't put that on a CRM.
Yeah, but of course, those sort of things don't go on a CRM. And this is why so many agents, when you ring up, will say to you, what's your postcode? Not, my name's Boyd, may I take yours, please? Oh, and can I take your number in case we get cut off? I'll ring you straight back. Oh, no, this is what you get. Can I take your postcode? Can I take your door number? Can I take a phone number? Can I have an email address? Oh, what's your budget? You don't even know my name. Imagine walking in to Harrods and walking over to one of the beautiful dress departments with your wife and the girl coming over to you and saying, what's your budget? You'd either punch her in the face or walk out, wouldn't you?
You would.
Well, why do agents do it? Why do agents think they can do it?
Because that's what the CRM system tells them to do.
Yeah, but agents are a high-end retailer. Those that have a high street presence, that's what you are. You're a high-end retailer, and what they've got to do is do everything in their power to be world class. We've got to stop this, but my CRM tells me, but I have to get 5 mortgage referrals a week. I don't care who I piss off to do it, but I've got to get 5 mortgage referrals this week.
Do you know
and I often say to them,
don't disagree with you. Go on. Tell me when.
I often say to the guys, the negotiators, are you incentivized to get valuations? Some of them are, in fairness. A lot of them aren't. If you mention door knocking to some agents, they put up a cross like you're the devil. They hold up garlic.
Okay, let's come back to door knocking in a second. The second reason why I think the agency's been dumbed down, then we'll go to door knocking and prospecting, Rightmove and the portals.
Yeah.
I believe because it's created a level playing field, that basically all agents do is basically whack their properties on Rightmove and wait for people to come to them.
Well, that's the perception. Certainly, I agree. That is the perception. That's not the business they're in. That is not the business they're in.
It's just like Auto Trader for property.
Well, correct. And this is why you're getting so many people who, frankly, are amateurs coming into the market and failing. Because they think, and they've got a point, all I need to do is spend money on Rightmove and I'll be okay. And you can understand them having that perception. It's wrong, but they do think that. Pardon?
Words for purple bricks.
Well, quite. Absolutely.
Other online agents are available. Okay, prospecting. Why do estate agents have this? I've got an issue, but I'd like to an opinion, but I'd like your opinion first. Why are estate agents so bad at prospecting?
2 reasons. The first one is they see it as below them. And the second one is, like a lot of people, they don't want to hear no. And when you prospect, you're going to hear more no's than yeses. However, if you prospect in a smart manner, intelligently, I'm not saying you'll get more yeses than no's, but the percentages come back in your favour. And most agents I've spoken to, no, that's not fair. Some agents I've spoken to have said, oh no, we wouldn't ever do that, door knocking. Oh no, that's disgusting. And I said, hang on a minute, you've got a buyer who says, I want to live in Cherry Tree Lane. And you know there are 2 houses in Cherry Tree Lane on the market with another agent. What are you going to do? Are you going to tell that buyer, oh, that's okay, if you want to live in Cherry Tree Lane, go to the other agent? Surely you wouldn't do that.
Yeah, but it's not gentlemanly though, is it?
It's not what?
Gentlemanly.
No. But so what do? Just let them go? Or do you do what one of my clients does? You knock on the door of the agent and you say, hello, my name's Fred. I notice you've chosen XYZ to sell your house. They're really good. I would have thought by now, you've had it on the market for 2-3 weeks, you probably have had loads of viewings and some offers. That's your starting point. Now, if they say, yes, we have, and we're about to sell, well, then you can't win on that, but you can still do what you were there for. And while I'm here, what I really want to know is where you're moving to and see if we can help you. And because you haven't sold the valuation, you know what's going to happen. And it happens quite a lot. Well, hang on a minute. We haven't had many viewings and offers. What can you do? And
Then
then
they're
you're
going to
able
turn
to,
around and say, well, they're in a 12-week agreement.
excuse me?
They're going to, the agents, the excuse they're going to use is, well, they're in a 12-week agreement.
Well, I understand that, Mr. Vendor, but I actually have someone who wants it. So I know you're in a 12-week agreement. Let's see what we can do to help you and help my buyer both win. Surely that's better than walking away.
But then you're going to fall out with the estate agent.
Well, why am I going to fall out with the estate agent? He can't sell it.
Is that ethical?
Well, why is it unethical? I'm not stealing it from him. Maybe I'd have a chat with him and do a deal. He can't sell it. I think we have to be a little bit commercial sometimes, don't we? Because the way we're going at the moment, no one wins. Agent 1 can't sell the property, and agent 2 has a buyer who wants it.
But
So everyone loses.
They're going to see it on Rightmove. There's no point.
Well, they might. What if they don't? Not everyone sees it on Rightmove.
True.
I mean, I take your point, but not everyone sees it on Rightmove. All I'm saying is they don't like prospecting, and they often don't know how to. I would never, ever prospect on the basis of trying to take the valuation away from agent 1.
Because that's what a lot of agents do. Knock on the door, hello, your agent's rubbish, use me.
Yeah, well, that's the most stupid thing ever. I think what you're going to be, well, you've got to put in their mind that their agent's great and you should have had lots of viewings and offers. If they haven't, then you're planting a seed, aren't you?
Yes.
But you're there to help them move. Because if you help them move, it will help them sell.
Okay, let's come back to the fear. The sort of person who is attracted to be a valuer is very much a people person, not a process person, and very outgoing, which means they love to be centre of attention. They're not very good at listening. They're very good at talking, mind you. And because they want everyone to love them, their biggest fear is rejection. How do you get over that fear of rejection?
Do you know what? That's one of the hardest things for anybody to do. And anybody that says to you, oh, it's a mind thing, it's really easy. Well, that's a bit textbooky for me, for my liking. Yeah, I think the real world is everyone hates rejection. So what you've got to do, you've got to prepare a little bit better. You've got to be more professional. You've got to think about, I'm going to knock 20 doors today. I'm going to knock 20 doors. Out of those 20 doors, what's realistic for me to get? Not, oh, I knocked 200 doors and no one was in. Oh, come on. That's not realistic. Why don't you knock 20 doors that you've targeted? Why don't you know exactly the road you're going to? Why don't you know what you're going to say? And I went out with a guy the other day, and do you know how he asked for the business?
Go on.
It was absolutely wonderful, Chris. After he'd explained to them what he could do, if they bit, and only if they bit. So what I mean by that, he'd say, I'm not here to sell your house. I'm here to help you move. And quite a few of them would say, no. Why don't you come in and give us a valuation anyway? He'd say, well, I don't want to do that now. Why don't we give it 2-3 days more? Let's see what agent 1 does. If they get you an offer, great. If they don't, we'll then talk about it. Well, you know, second time, always, he went in, and this is what he'd say. Well, this sounds great. Why don't you give us a try? And a very nice percentage said yes. Because I think that's a lovely way to ask for business. Gentle, non-offensive, and doesn't it make sense? They tried agent 1. You're saying now try agent 2. Give us a try. And you know what? Some of my clients really buy into this. And I'm not saying these are necessarily my ideas. I like to share what I see the best do. I've always been like that. You know me for a long time. It's not necessarily me, it's what the best deliver. And those clients of mine that are delivering that, they're doing all right. And in fact, one of them, their door knock division, and when I say division, they've probably got 3 guys doing it, are bringing in a lot of instructions every week.
Is the person doing the door knocking the same person who lists it?
Depends. With some of my clients, yes. With others, no. It would appear that feedback is the person that knocks in the first place is best placed to do it, because there's a rapport been built. That's the feedback.
Okay, but what traits do these good door knocker valuers have that the others don't have?
I'll tell you, hard work, the ability not to give up when you're having one of those days where the first 10 doors nobody answers and the next 6 they're rude and abusive and the Rottweiler chases you down the path.
So that's patience, hard work and
Correct.
patience.
Well, because you know what? It's very easy then to think, well, I tell you what, I'll go and sit in the car for half hour because I can't be doing with this. And the half an hour becomes an hour. And before you know where you are, oh, time to get back to the office. Because you were given 200 doors to knock. It's unreasonable. That's just numbers. If you and I, Chris, went out today and knocked 200 doors, someone might say yes, however bad we were.
Well, it's interesting because when I were an estate agent a few years ago, we were part of the Halifax before things went belly up, and I had a car park chat by my boss, and it was not a pretty one. And he told me the method, which it didn't have a name, but it was called the frozen pea method, which is the same one as you, where you knock on the door and basically say, you're not on my mailing list, I want to find you something. Then next week you go back and print off all the brochures that come on the market with all the competitors. Here's some brochures, and then you just keep doing that. And eventually they say, I feel really embarrassed to try and find, for you to try and find me a home, and I haven't sold Matt. And then that's when you say, well, you have a quick look around to see if your agent's missed anything.
Yeah.
This stuff works because you're going with the intention of helping, not trying to get.
It's exactly what I said to you with a mortgage. If you go in with the intent of upselling mortgage, you got a problem. Why on earth would it be the third question you ask a customer? Have you got a mortgage in place?
Well, it's like going to a shop. It's like going to a shop and you're looking at the TVs and someone says, have you got the money to buy this?
Yeah. Well, do you know what I find incredible, Chris? We did a batch of mystery calls 2 weeks ago as potential buyers. And I would say in 60% of the cases, we weren't asked what we were doing with our current property. But worse than that, the other 40% would say something like, third question, have you got something to sell? I mean, how selfish can you be? I've just phoned you to buy something. Now, I understand that you want that information, but there's ways of getting it. How about, oh, so where do you live at the moment? What's prompted you to move to Grimsby? The fish and chip shop's fantastic. And where do you live at the moment? Skeggy. Wonderful. Do you live near the beach or live near the town? What are you doing with a house in Skeggy? What are you thinking of doing? That's the same as, have you got anything to sell? It's just done. I always say you can't kiss the girl till you get to know her.
That's what we're doing. We're almost walking into the pub and asking everyone to marry us. We've got to woo them a bit.
Correct. Exactly. And it's the language being used. I hear this a lot. So are you looking at a semi or what? That means you've got no confidence in what you just said. So would you be interested in 3 beds, or it's like me saying to a girl, will you marry me? Or it's just stupid. But that's because it's being allowed. And what I'm concerned about, with a lot of people working from home, the monitoring of the negotiators will get worse. Well, it won't get worse. It'll stop.
It's pretty awful at the moment, isn't it?
Well, exactly. So if they're not monitoring them now when they're working at home, I mean, for me, the most important thing at the moment if your people are working from home, is for God's sake, have them mystery called. Make sure you know what they're doing. You can't just rely on it. And be fair, if you've been in an office for the last 2 years, nice environment, fun, now you're working from home. You haven't told your boss that, you know, your girlfriend or boyfriend's a blooming nightmare. You haven't said that the kids are screaming and they're, oh, and why would you? Yeah. But if somebody's not monitoring your calls and making sure you're absolutely on it, then never mind Armageddon, it'll be a blooming apocalypse. This is the time more than any when we need to be on top of our people, making sure they're doing it right. I don't mean training them, I mean just monitoring them, making sure, are you mystery calling your people? How are you ensuring they're answering the phone in the manner you want?
Now, I know you actually offer mystery shopping phone calls, but let's be honest, some people might not be able to forward you. What advice would you give to bosses mystery shopping? Of course, they can always contact you. I mean, how do they contact you, by the way?
Well, they contact me on my website, which is boydmayover.com. So that's nice and easy. Or they ring on 01923 85 5427. But if they can't afford it at the moment, do it yourself, guys. You must do it. Send an email inquiry in. Make sure it's being phoned quickly. Speed of response, absolutely vital. This is what I see in too many agents. Well, the customer emailed in, so obviously that means they won't want a phone call. All my customers are more comfortable with WhatsApp. No, you are more comfortable with WhatsApp. And the man wants to spend, or lady, £600,000. They ain't going to do it via WhatsApp, are they? We've really got to tighten up now. You know, I'll give you another one. So many companies say to me, well, we're doing well, we're getting 45% of our valuations as instructions. Well, I'm compared to what? I'm not sure that's great. Depends what you'd want to compare it to. So I say, well, let's assume you're right. How do you find out why you lost the other 55%? Oh, the valuers tell us it's fees. And really, it's only fees. So 45% of people said yes, and 55% said no because of fees. Have you ever done?
Or they don't go on the market.
Oh, okay. Or they don't go on the market at all.
But yeah, and then I tell you what winds me up about those is they probably come on the market 3 months later, but the valuer doesn't clock that.
No, well, of course. Yeah. But they come up with someone else every time. But it's simple. Are you ringing back the valuations you lose and finding out why? Now, we're dealing with the English mentality, so you don't ring them yourself. Because if I ring you, Chris, and I say, why didn't I get the business? Because you like me, because I built a rapport, you might not tell me the real reason. But if somebody else rings from customer service or customer support, so it's just phoning to get feedback on my valuer, Chris Watkin. Well, I know you decided to go with Fred. Fair enough. I understand. Good choice. Can I just ask you, what's your feedback? Why did you choose Fred? And what was your feedback on Chris? You get the truth. But what a lot of agents are doing is just saying, well, I know why I didn't get it. It was fees. Is it possible? Because you know a lot of branch managers do the valuations. Some branch managers, possibly, some would not want the boss to know that they weren't doing as well as they could, that maybe they'd got stuck in their ways. And let me tell you, this isn't a pop at agents. It's across the board. Too many people, too many aren't giving the right service all the time. If I lost business, I want one of my partners or colleagues to phone up and find out why, because they'll get the truth and I won't. Now, if you don't know why you're losing them, how are you ever going to pick up the ones you lose? You don't know why you've lost them. I know companies that phone and find out why they got them. So they'll phone and find out, why did you choose us? That's important as well. And you know, I was out with a negotiator the other day, and he was the other week, he was very impressive. The customer said, I like you, Sal, but your competition are 0.5% cheaper. Sal said, I understand, not that I can do it, Mr. Jones, or would do it, but if we were the same fees as them, who would you choose? The customer said, you. Sal said, fair enough, can I ask why? Customer listed 5 or 6 reasons. And Sal said at the end, well, there you are, and that's worth an extra 700 quid, isn't it? Customer went, well, yeah, I suppose so. Now, notice what he did. He got the customer, first of all, he qualified that it was only fees. Then he got the customer to tell him why he would have chosen him. Then he turned the percentage into money. The difference, not all of it, the difference. Because the truth is, with all due respect to vendors and buyers, if you asked most of them what 0.25% is of the value of their house, they wouldn't know. Well, the blooming valuer should, Chris, shouldn't he?
You certainly should, Boyd.
Shouldn't he have it off pat, click of his fingers? So rather than say, well, they're 1.5 and we're 2 and we're this and we're that, talk about the difference. And what this guy did was built the value in the difference. So notice he said, look at how much you're getting for 800 quid. He didn't say, look at what you're getting for 2%, which comes out at. He didn't say that, did he?
No, he didn't.
He just spoke about the difference. And that is what the best do.
Boyd, thanks
That's
for
what
your
the best
time
do.
today. You've been exceptional as always. Good friend.
Thank you.
Good friend of mine and a lot of people in the industry. We've got your contact details. You've given them earlier on. Can I just say on behalf of the estate and letting agency industry, thank you for your time today. Thank you for the nuggets. And if bosses want to give you a call, they can get hold of you on LinkedIn. And just really thank you, mate, for what you've done for the industry.
Oh, you're welcome. And listen, if anybody wants to ring for a chat, more than welcome. Yeah, that I get people ringing me all the time, and I love it. Happy to speak, as you might have noticed.
Boyd, thank you for your time today, and
You're welcome.
I wish you well. Thank you.